The training is at our offices, 124 Main Street, Marshalltown is next to Carlton Center, every Wednesday from 10 in the morning until around about 1 in the afternoon. Every Wednesday from 10 in the morning till around about 1. It's called Supplier Development Training, Department of Treasury. So you don't need to do any bookings or reservations. You just go, tell them that you were sent by me, attend the training. It's 6 weeks. So if you attend like this week, Wednesday, next week you will attend another. It's only on Wednesday from 10 in the morning, right? So yeah, that's the long and short of it. I know most of the people who are registered on CSD, they are struggling with some areas. Like, for example, you're registered on CSD, but you are still non-compliant. Your tax is non-compliant. It's non-compliant because you submitted your annual returns at SARS, but what makes it non-compliant on the system is that though it's updated, it's gonna expire next year, on the system, e-filing. So you'll have to log on every now and then on e-filing and tick the areas that are non-compliant. When the show iba non-compliant, so that when you check on the system, uhlale compliant all the time. Because if your tax is non-compliant, you will not be able to do business with government. And banking details, when you capture your banking details on CSD, sometimes it shows your bank verification failed. So what makes it fail? The systems talk to each other. So when you capture the information with CSD, you capture the very same way it's captured at the bank. If your company is XYZ, PTY Ltd, you do that with CSD as well, so that it can verify successfully. And also, there's a part here, directors. So you are registered on CSD, you are 2 director or you are 1 director at that company. So what you need to do is to go to CIPC. There's a part that you're supposed to capture the shareholding of the directors, right? So if that part is not captured correctly, the CSD will show you that the director ownership on CSD is missing. It will highlight red as an error. So please make sure that before the end of March, you do that part, you go to CIPC, fix that directorship part so that it can be compliant on CSD as well. And proof of residence. On CSD, you don't have to upload any documents. But when it comes to the proof of residence, you will have to upload your proof of residence, right? Because if it's not uploaded, by the end of March, you will be deactivated on CSD if your proof of residence is not updated. So when you update the proof of residence, you do only 1 proof of residence. I know it's difficult to get job in Gauteng province, or you want to juggle around and do a business in South Africa as the whole. So you will have maybe 5 addresses that you want to capture on CSD. So if you did that, so you will have to upload the proof of residence in all those addresses that you've captured there. Because if you want to do business in KZN or in Eastern Cape, you tick that address as a preferred address. Or if you do business in Gauteng, you tick the address that reflects Gauteng province as your preferred address. But now it's tricky when it comes to the proof of address, because you will have to tick only 1 address, because they want to check if you are really staying in Gauteng province or you are doing business in Gauteng province. So if you did not do that, you will be automatically deactivated from CSD. Right, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, can we take questions? Mbuzo, auditing. There's a question. There's another 2. There's a 3rd one. Any other hand? Any other hand? So we've got 3 questions. Don't be provoked. If there are any provocations, please attend to that William, he's going to be here, even if you take the discussion offline. Can we then take the 3 questions starting here?
Okay. Thanks. Mr. Abuile, I just wanted to inquire here, in fact. There's an issue with some of the companies which are registered, but you find that with those businesses here in the township, we struggle with funds. We do not have any allocated budgets when it comes to township businesses. You find that we struggle with our tax returns. You have your, what you call, your labor issues that have to be attended, that the fundings. Because in order to have a business, everything, I can say in all due diligence, all departments needs to be, in a way, have to be paid. Your CIP, your Department of Labor. So I don't know if ever, as you mentioned that if we go to Joburg, do you also allocate in terms of helping those businesses? Thank you.
Sanibonani. Ngiyabonga baba. Bengicela nje ukubuza mntaka baba. Malunga ezibasokhona we from CSD. When it comes to vendor number, when you apply for a vendor number on the CSD, then they respond to you, so they say that your name or your spelling is wrong or something like that, so from the bank or something like that. So I just need to understand from there, is it, how's that working? Is from the bank side, so do I need to go to the bank? And so because I go to the bank, at the bank they say everything is correct. It's according to from CIPC. So I go to the CIPC as well. CIPC say everything is, the spelling, CIPC just told me that the spelling of the company, it doesn't make that really problem as long as it's right. But now on the CSD side, when I apply for that request for that vendor number, they say the name or spelling which is incorrect or something like that. So is how that can I fix those or solve the problem?
I've got a problem with logging into my email address and to change my previous email address due to the fact that on CSD, due to the fact that when I log in and try to change those that email address, it gives me some problems. So what can I do in order to reinstate my new email address on a CSD portal? Another question which I want to ask is, please repeat for me the training, the address of the training which is taking place in Joburg on Wednesday. Please, thank you very much.
Will?
Siyabonga kakhulu ngama questions. Ngizoqala ngobaba we address ne. Colleagues, I will be here after the session, so you are most welcome to come and have one-on-one chat with me. I will share with you before I sit down my email address and my all my contact details, right? So that you can access me when I'm no longer here. The other thing is that we are not in our offices. Our offices are at number 75 Fox Street, Marshalltown, so that building is non-compliant and it's closed. So we work from home most of the time. But I'm accessible at any time. So I will give you my contacts. I prefer the email. I prefer you to drop me the email because I'm always on my emails. Because if you call, I'm not there in the office. So my friendly advice as someone who's doing business, be it in Gauteng province or anywhere, is that you don't change the contacts. You don't change your cell phone numbers, you don't change your email addresses, especially when you are registered on the government systems, right? Because I don't want to say we are SMMEs because sisekas, yabo. But ngifuna ukuthi if we are SMMEs, meaning the small companies, in order to grow, take this advice from me personally, not from an official point of view from Treasury. Anzuyikhala ngizohamba nayo la ukuthi let's check the well-established companies ukuthi is operator kanjani, yabo. Those big companies, if they're registered on the systems, you will never find them changing the email addresses. The email address is the same. I don't want to call the names of the big companies, but you know, the email, you will find it the same. And it's similar to the name of the company. Yabo? It's similar to the name of the company. So they add everything. So today you have this email address, next week, ayisasebenzi, you know, please let's not do that, right? But if you happen to lose the email address and then you want to change it on CSD, please drop me an email. I will send you the address for system support, yes, CSD, yeah, you will send them an email, tell them that you have lost the email, you would like to use a different email, so they will do that, they will change the email and put another email in order for you to access the CSD. Or if you have lost the cell phone number, you can drop me an email again. It's easy, when you log in on CSD, it's easy, there's a part to change the number, you just click there and change the number. But when you click on changing the number, it will send the link to your email. So changing the number, you will need to have your email working because you cannot change your cell phone number if your email address is not working, because you're supposed to access that link on your email address and you will be able to change the cell phone number again, right? CSD, Opoti, you registered. I said, the system talks to each other. If you want to create a vendor number, GPG vendor number, you send me that MAAA number again, right? I will then take that information, check if your company is compliant, map that information and create the GPG vendor number and send it back to you. So it's easy like that. You email me only MAAA number as registered on CSD. Now I will take the information, create a GPG vendor number. So if you are compliant, as I've said, one of the tricky areas that most of the people are struggling with is that a bank didn't verify successfully, meaning that you didn't write the company name the way it's written at the bank. If there's a space, you create a space. If there's no space, but please come to me, we'll explain a little bit after the session and solve your problem. Compliance issues. How I wish that I can be on my personal capacity to finance yes, finance people who are doing business when it comes to compliance, because most of the companies are struggling when it comes to that, when it comes to compliance. And it's unfortunate because there's no specific budget allocated to compliance. But here's another trick that I will tell you when it comes to compliance, to master that part, yeah, compliance. Because compliance of the company depends on you, not government, right? Because before you start the company, you will ask yourself these 3 questions. Good. Why am I going to start this business? Right? And then the second question will be the question of sustainability. How is it going to sustain itself, the business that I'm going to register today? The third and the last question will be, if I decide to register this company today, who am I going to do business with? Who's going to be my client? Obviously, when you start a business, you identify a gap in the market. There's this guy, uVusi Thembekwayo, ati, most of the people who are doing business or who are having an idea of starting a business, baleka lento A1. You start a business, you register a business today, so ufuna ukwenza websites and flyers and stuff about that business. Right, I understand ukuthi it's part of marketing because once it's start to be operational, this business, you have to market it. But you forget to target a value chain. So once you start a business, focus on the value chain. Once you master that, it's well established there, surely the cash flow will do like this and you will start to see again now the profit in the business, because a business is all about it's about the profit. So a business, what is a business? So a business is something that you wake up. The reason why it's called business, it's something that you wake up every day and get busy with. So if you decide to register a business, meaning you will wake up every day and get busy with this business, ne? And now make sure you target the value chain. Like for example, when we are you source the products and sell it to the spaza shop a gas. Meaning you sit down and ask what kind of business am I, like for example, if I resign as the government official today, what kind of business am I going to do? Am I going to go to the mining that I don't have experience on, or do the administration that and as you putting your master again? So where my sense of business, when there's something was you will master again, it's something that you master. With the money or with the profit that you have, that profit is the one that is gonna take care of the compliance with business. You will not cry to government, government, please assist me so that I can be able to comply, so that I can pay for uthengisa amagwinya or ukhathi inwele. If we are cutting or uthengisa amagwinya or uthengisa ipap and flakes, uthengisa iplate ezingaphi eziyi-40 or eziyi-20 per day at 40 rands a plate. So now, in order for you to go and buy stock, so go to uthengise tomorrow, you will take good profit and namhlanje, check how much is needed, how much meat am I going to add, or meal and stuff, you go and buy. The money SLAyo ibizwa ngokuthini, you profit. That's why when you have a business, you're supposed to open a business account so that the profit goes to a separate business account, ingayi ku personal account yako, right? By so doing, you want to make sure that we are born a profit. With that profit, the profit is the one that is gonna sustain. It answers the question of sustainability when it comes to a business. Because if you don't master that question, sustainability, how is it gonna sustain itself? You're not gonna get it right. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Bencinga uza sneaky pin yala ATM. I'm on a pin kaloku that thing. Okay, look, we are at the point where we have to hand over to the city to come and now explain its processes. And I'm not giving speakers here. So, Negere, we can come to the fore and then you take us through. I'm not sure who's going to start and who's allocated where. But you can come forth and then we proceed.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Program Director. I'll try and be as brief as I can. That's why I'm holding this, so that it can guide me in the interest of time, because we are 1 hour late. All right, my name is Thapelo Mkhathusi from Building Control Division, which is part of the development planning and real estate department within the city of Ekurhuleni. So basically, our department's function is to regulate and monitor and also control the construction of buildings within the city, obviously in the area of our jurisdiction. And we are guided by the National Building Regulation, which core function is to it's general safety, health, and also the environment, and also for the convenience of the occupiers of those buildings. So we practice in accordance to a legislative framework, which is the Act, the National Building Regulation and Building Standard Acts of 1997, as amended. And the aim of this act is to provide for the promotion of uniformity across the city with regards to erections of these buildings. So we have KPIs obviously in our offices. One of the KPIs is the number of inspections that needs to be conducted, and also the law enforcement issuance of notices for transgressors within our jurisdiction. And also there's a KPI on how long we should take in terms of evaluating building plans. So one KPI talks to any building plan that is less than 500 square meter by law, in accordance with Section 7 of our Act, needs to be evaluated within 30 days. And any building plans that are above 500 square meter in size, they need to be evaluated within 60 days. But we don't necessarily have to wait for for those time frames. We do have targets within our department, and we evaluated plans that are less than 500 in 15 days, and then the above 500 in 16 days. And one important thing is that we do worry about our stakeholders. We do look after the stakeholders. The general public, it's one of the most important stakeholders in the city. And regulatory bodies such as the South African Council for the Architectural Profession, and also EXA, which deals with engineers. These are the regulatory bodies that anybody who's submitting a building plan must be a member of those regulatory bodies. And also we do obviously accept applications from other spheres of government. And our main operational mandate is to process building plans, whether be residential or business. We need to process those building plans and also conduct inspection to ascertain compliance. You may ask, what do we do? Do we go to the communities to educate them about these services? Yes, we do. We do have blitz programs. We do have awareness programs that assist us to educate as form of service delivery, just to educate our residents about the dangers of illegal buildings and the risk attached to it, to illegal buildings. I mean, you have heard of buildings that were collapsing. Even here in Tembisa, we've had a couple of buildings collapsing due to non-compliance, and which caused some fatalities, and this should be avoided at all costs. Okay, the most important thing about conducting business, because this is the crux of the matter, is that we look out for structural integrity of these buildings. It's very important that we ensure that is done. And we look at issues such as health and the fire hazard for people building spaza shops and other buildings that are meant for business. So in case of containers, it is important that we take cognizance of the perishable goods that are stored there and the non-perishable goods. Perishable goods, it's things like meat and EBC, libesi, and the non-perishable is those that they can prolong in room temperature. So we do look at those aspects of thermal performance of those structures. And just to conclude, our submission process, it's simple, and the cost to it is that we charge 18.90 a square meter for residential buildings and 19.90 per square meter for business buildings. So due to the riots we had, Chairperson, we decided to move our branch to Kempton Park since we had riots and one of our buildings were burned. So we can be found at the 5th floor in CR Swart at the CCC in Kempton Park. That's where you can put up your application for building plans. We need a couple of documents, obviously. We need to ascertain whether you are the registered owner, and obviously you need to appoint a registered architectural professional to handle your submission. And obviously it will go through a process mapping where after submission, it will go for inspection to ascertain whether the building is not existing, and then if it's existing, then we need to accept the terms of regularizing that type of structure. And yeah, let me leave it at that, Chairperson. Thank you very much. Any questions are more than welcome.
Thanks very much, Dr. Chapel. Can we take questions? Mubuzo. Dipotso. What has been the impact of the office moving from here to town? But I'm asking community. Or now, how service anymore? How does it feel? I get really government. So the more you burn, the further the service goes. Arasna Dipotso, colleagues are still here. We can take another presentation. I think there are 4 from the side of the city that we are going to take. Can we take the next presentation?
Dumelang, le kae? Teng. Lebitso ke nna Thato Somoro, ke tswa ke le City Planning Department under Town Planning. Ke na le di colleagues tsa male tsona di tsamaya ka di pamphlet mo Just that it will be a summary of what is there on the presentation. Ke summary fela e leng hore e teng on the pamphlets ba di romelang tsona, ne? Okay. So town planning, in short, this is what we want to see as a good planning within the town planners. So wherever there's a development, it started maybe in the left-hand side, planning, bad planning, and then we try as planners to do everything with the good planning elengamo. But not only the town planners have to do this. There's other departments that are involved. But strata they are involved, but the parks they are involved. It's not only us as town planners who have the decision to make, or this thing must be like that. We also involve other departments so that the right development is at the end of the day. So, city planning department is responsible for this part, which is special planning and land use. So special planning and land use, it's more on town planning. A land use on within the property, ya motor or any jarete within the city. And building control, they've just came in, is part of our, under the city planning department. They just came in by explaining the process, how building plans are being submitted and all those things. Then we've got the geoinformatics where where certain areas there's dolomitic, there's a department division that thing. Then we've got law enforcement, which is those businesses that are operating illegally. I've got a colleague after now who will present that process of how the process works when it comes to law enforcement of illegal businesses. Now, town planning, which is the land use management, that's where we come in. Now, our department, as a town planners, what we advise is that the properties, or in terms of the what can you use your property for? Is it supposed to be a business? Is it supposed to be a residential? We can come to Masipala to advise our property as a owner of the property. What are you supposed to use the property for? Within your property, it does not mean to say anything. As in, that's only owner ya jarete. How was one out and twelve long tlamelo low aha was one out the wood tlamelo ahayakating. There is the regulations tlamelo was amekazona. Coverage. Coverage it allows you to within the property spaces kakang so ahango sona. Height here story height ya building ya how many stories can you go up? Understand? And then with type of businesses selling thing, parking, so this thing the more on I can talk advise on how to go the officing. Then we've got this thing by Silas city equivalent land use management land use system, which is a town planning scheme guidance on how development is supposed to happen on each and every property. Remember the property they've got rights in a way. We've got residential properties, got business properties, so those are the rights. So those things that are outlined more and then we've got something about a special planning framework plan. That is to determine where the type of business business cannot be done all over. Okay, so in case scrapyard was in front of a residential property. Understand? So the scrapyard is supposed to be indicated somewhere else, where on an industrial area. I'm just making an example. There are certain businesses we cannot just allow them everywhere. So what guides us? The special planning area thing. Then we've got the processes, obvious application procedures, which will explain what type of application can do, what's the procedure, and how can be handled in a way. Then we've got different types of applications that can be submitted go our offices. We've got a township establishment. Township establishment is if for Tembisa, that application, that township establishment was done. You get next, and then that's the township establishment to as an application. And then, ho bana le ntho ba reng ke rezoning application. So one of our colleagues, Olacho, you need to do a rezoning application, right? It all depends on the type of a business that you want to do on your property, or it's a rezoning or it's a. Then you've got a removal of restriction. This removal and amendment of suspension, ke taba ya di title deed. Certain title deeds, they've got restriction within it. But our whole property are supposed to only be used for residential. And then when it's for business. Even if you apply a corona, we cannot allow you up until you remove that condition within the title deed because of it restricts you. Remember, title deed is a legal document. So we cannot do whatever that's there on the title deed, you need to abandon to make sure it's not there. And then there's body subdivision. If you have a property, you subdivide that into two. And then if consolidation, if you have property say two, you want to do them as one as one property. Then we've got the consent use applications. There are different type of uses, business. I'll explain which uses can be done onto them. Then we've got relaxation of building lines. If let's say garage on the boundary of your property, you're supposed to say 2 meters, but we're not about to encroach within that, and then you can do that building line relaxation. And then there's body cancellation of general plan that has to do with the townships. Now, I've explained the City of Equity Land Use Scheme. This is our document to guide us, okay, we're not residential. What can you do on your property? We're not also zoning property, how is zoning industrial? What can you do on your property? What can you do to apply? Whatever use over time we use. This document is more online. It guide everything and I do definition for any type of a business if it has been defined more or not. But I'll explain a lot. Tavern defined as what, crash defined as what, industrial uses defined as it. And all the definitions are any type of a business or any use, business, any use, anything within it, and then it will guide you of this thing is it's a major. Now, I know everyone, but there's a say, okay, this is my house, I can do anything that I want to do more on. And the only thing is that, more property in your house, within your property. As much as you can do your house, there's certain rules that you need to follow in a way. But now, there's a thing like a zoning certificate that will guide you to say, this is my zoning certificate, this is what I'm supposed to do in my property. As an example of a zoning certificate, property description, stand number township name, the zoning, it's residential too. There's different zonings. Setting declare a business, right? Then, as a residential too, then there's a coverage. Only 60% can be built within that property. You mentioned it about height. There's only 2 stories that can be done within it. This is just for a specific standard. The property is one. So this is a zoning certificate, an example that day, right? Now, with that residential too, it comes here to this point where on that column 3, it will tell you what exactly you're supposed to do in that property. Nothing else. For residential 2, it's a dwelling house and a private road. Dwelling house can private road can no strata fellow can a garage. So the column 3, it tells you exactly what you're supposed to do, right? On the property. That's the primary right. Nothing else is coming along without that. Depending on zoning, I get zoning at this one. It's in the business, it's in the industrial. It will have different uses more. Then column 4, it says special consent of municipality land use applications. So all of those uses only got a special consent application. You can apply for municipality, right? You can apply for any one of those selling on that column A thing. There's taverns, there's crashes, there's a guest house. You can apply for those special consent use only application. Then on column 5, you've got the bed and breakfast that you can apply for. You still have to apply for municipality. Remember, the column number 3, you don't need to apply. That's a primary right. This column says you need a consent from municipality. You need to submit an application or assess so that it can give you that land use thing. And then on column 6, get the ancillary things where if onale a dwelling house, o ka ba na le a guard house. Dintlo tse ding makgoweng ba tla ba na le ona le guard house, it's a residential property. It must be ancillary. You can have also living accommodation for domestic workers subject to clause enging. Toro o ka ba na le motho o leng hore ha o sebeletsa o bona le room ka ntle ka hae, that you can do. Right? So this is it's things that on your property, when the moment you say you want to know what you can do on your property, the moment it says residential too, or whatever zoning it is, the primary right can total. There's other columns with the consent of municipality. Any business that is not, or any business that you would like to know that is not there on residential too, then you'll have to rezone. If anything is not there, let's say it's a restaurant, for example. It's not mentioned more, then you have to rezone your property to become a restaurant. Now, with land use applications, there are certain requirements, motivation. You need to tell us why you want to do the type of a business or the type of a land use that you are doing within that property. A site plan. Site plan, it needs to provide us with an understanding how you're going to develop your business more. If it's a crash, you're going to tell us the classroom level guy. If it's a spaza shop, spaza shop house level guy. If it's a guest house, you will have to give us an idea how this development will work within your property. Then the very important one is a copy of a title deed. You, the owner of the property, you, the one who's supposed to apply on that property. We need a copy of a title deed. I've mentioned on the previous one, removal of restrictions, to say certain condition might restrict you. That's where we will see how this condition is there. You're not supposed to do whatever that you are proposing on the business, right? So that's the reason why we need a copy of a title deed. Yes, there's issues that copy of a title deed where people don't have title deeds. Maybe Mutswadu la hlokahala, and then it where now comes a letter of authority. One of our colleagues will explain now what the letter of authority is. We need that as well to say, okay, letter of authority, now you've been given this property to belong with it. The other issues that we have come across is people who don't have title deeds at all. In that case where human settlement comes into a point to say they must give us a letter from human settlement to say this property, if it becomes registered, it will belong to that we can accept, right? That's the title deed. And then the bondholders' consent is those people who they still banka is a kolota banka, banka in a way. Remember, as much as you pay the banka, the property still belongs to the bank. So we need the bank consent to say they do agree to say you can proceed with the application. And then we need a power of attorney. If only you appoint an agent, a town planner. There are different applications that requires or appoint a town planner. There are certain ones don't require a town planner or way. So when as the owner of the property, you can do the application. So the power of attorney to give the consultant to say you appointing them on your behalf, and the applications. Then there's a reason why I've highlighted the one, and then there's an application fee as per council, depending on the application. There's special consent uses, there's a specific application fee. There's one that I've highlighted is that after you have submitted the application, then you need to do a public participation. Public participation, firstly, is depending on an application. The rezoning your township, you need to advertise to the newspapers, Provincial Gazette, newspaper and Provincial Gazette. Those are the rezoning and township applications. Taverns, you must apply, you must do an advertisement from the newspapers. Right? We've got a list to tell us which uses supposed to be advertised where and stuff like that. While you're advertising, you need to send letters to the neighbors. Either not to say permission, you're not asking permission. You are informing them what type of a business that you want to do. And you give them 28 days to object. Right? From the first day, the advert is really, and then you give them 28 days to say, okay, I'm giving you 28 days for you guys who can go maspaling the objector. This is what I want to do as a type of a business. They've got the right to object as an application on your application, right? You give them 28 days. Then that, also after the 28 days, that you can come and submit it to us as a proof to say you have done the public participation, you have done the adverts, you have notified neighbors. If there's any objection, we will inform you to say, Part of your public participation, you had an objection from this person. You had an objection, there's an objection, and then it will have to go to a tribunal to say, go and decide the application is amayajwa. Now, house of submittal application, what happens to it, right? We'll give you a reference number. That's number one, to say, okay, reference number, how ki stand number ke number 10, Tembisa, your reference number ki, as a proof that you have submitted, right? Then we circulate the departments to we circulate your application to the departments. We're not the only department that make a decision to your application. The service departments and all the departments and they need to make a decision to our application. We need to get comments from these services. They must tell me, for example, Otlabo ahile a certain building on top of the pipe. Water department might come and say negative comment to say you have built on top of our pipes, so they cannot grant you the permission. So it's not only our department that makes decisions on these applications. We circulate to the department to get their comments, and then all the comments are said clearly. Then that's where we'll make a decision to say, okay, if all the comments are positive and now what we see is everything is fine, then we can proceed with that. As once I have the comment decision we make, and then I've spoken about tribunal. If someone has objected to application, it goes to a tribunal. Tribunal, and then they'll invite whoever that's objected, and you as the applicant. There will be a site inspection that will do an co-siting, and then there will be a hearing. In a way, they give this person a chance to present why he objects to application. They also give the applicant to present why you want to do this, and a decision will be made. Once the decision has been made, you will get comments, or you'll get on your approval, there will be conditions that you need to comply with. One of the decisions will be, they call them bulk contributions, where your service department will charge you a specific amount, right? And then those are the department that have charged you, not us as a city planning or a town planning. Those comments will be there to say, roads and stormwater have charged you this amount, water and sanitation, they've charged you this amount. Then you need to pay those amounts, right? Then after approval is your application, but then that's where you can submit your building plans and the SDP. After only you have approved. I get it, batlo aha molo if it's not the right, or ahe crash if it's not the right is a crash. You need to have first opened the rights, then mutla proposing your building plan to be approved. Now, after, for example, let's say you have done an application, it's been approved. For a spaza shop, your zoning certificate will change, right? The one that they kill on Sempele is just a residential only. Now this one will say, fine, on 299, stand numbers are how, everything is still res 2. You have applied for a spaza shop, for example. That's your reference number, and then the consent you says will be spaza shop. So it means on your property, you can do a spaza shop and a dwelling house at the same time. This will be a zoning certificate that will be saying your application has been approved, you have complied with all the conditions that Masipala and other departments have required. Then we'll change your zoning certificate to say, okay, since you have applied for a spaza shop, then you'll be a spaza shop. Certain ones, there will be Mutuari zoning, maybe INZ from res 2 to a restaurant. Then more zoning, it will change as well, right? But the stand number will remain the same, right? Then the next one, a tavern also. This one was a spaza shop, so this was the tavern one with the reference number. It will say tavern, then coverage will still be 60%. So we do get the application when we submit, and it's not like they approve. It's just that it takes a bit of a time in Ghana because of there's other departments that you need to consider. It's not only us that deal on. I know that office no, we also deal with other departments as well. If we get a negative comment from our department, you must go and deal with that department to say, what can you do to get a proper comment or a positive comment? Now, when everything is done, as I said, you can submit your building plan now, go building control. Then they've explained how that process goes, a building plan to be done. What happens when I break the law? I've indicated that I've got a colleague who will explain the illegal land uses to say if you're operating a business on a residential property that you're not supposed to do. But I'll explain what happens to it, or what the procedures, or what needs to be done. Can't cover you. So this I cover a whole on that basis to say, if you're operating illegally, what needs to be done. In general, it's just a matter of you as the owner of the property, you are responsible for any businesses a la mo jareteng. Like I said, it's just how na le tavern o bo dumela batho ba dume ba rotele ko ntle ka motho tse jwalo. In such cases, we've got the right also to as a masipala, if complain that we've got the right to revoke that approval le go fileng yona, to say you not complying, but neighbors are how they are complaining. Yes, we understand it's your house, but let's deciding as bo makhelwane, you can't just do anything le rata nto tse jwalo. No. And then in recap, fella, it's just a matter of saying what I've been indicating to so who know. You can wait for the decision of council. You can't just do anything on your property. You need to apply. There will also be contributions that need to be paid. You can submit building plans after you've received your approval. Whatever business that you guys are want to operate. And then we are based go Kempton Park, CCC, go 5th floor, the same building as building control at Lengoteng. And our numbers are 011 999 7654. We've got different areas, but I can't Tembisa, so the offices there will be more cats in Parker Hall. Thank you very much.
Can we take questions? Anything? There's one at the back. Two. I must say, man, unketse matla. Tate Thato. So aksa khona se bedisa mantswe a reng kukwamela with full authority. So it's one, and then okay. It's one at the back, and then it's two. You are the third one. Okay.
I think it will be highly impossible to comply to get a zoning certificate due to all these processes that we have explained. I think this is a serious red tape, honestly. Because in order to get a business license, you have to go via all those procedures, of which, in the first place, when we come to the acquirement of a business plan, all these, most of these residential areas that we are staying at, that we are occupying right now, are inheritance from our late parents. We don't know what happened because those houses, they don't have a house plans in the first place. So, and in consideration of the fact that most of us we are unemployed, so these processes of that we have explained there, they are too complicated, and I consider them as a red tape. In consideration of the fact that, again, we don't have money to pay for the application of all those steps that you have explained there. That is a serious red tape. Hence, on the other hand, the illegal foreigners are busy, as I'm speaking right now, operating sponsor shops in those properties which does not have those house plans. Are you serious about alleviating poverty in our areas? Really, for sure, what you're telling us, it's a stumbling block on our side. I have to emphasize that because, you know, every time when it comes to us bona fide residents of Tembisa, say of Ekurhuleni, There are stumbling blocks to provide services or to us. So please, man, just simplify those procedures in terms of Batupili principles. The services of the municipality must be accessible and they must be user-friendly. So in that regard, I don't see each and every bona fide residents of South Africa benefiting in terms of your services that you're providing. Honestly, I don't understand. And you in your planning, you plan from top to bottom, not from bottom to top. In other words, you don't consult us as residents of Ekurhuleni. You just come like the way you have came right now to tell us what are the procedures of which most of those procedures have expired. I don't know really. I don't know who's going to qualify.
My name is Ganyani. I've got a concern with what we are saying here. More special, the one who was talking about the square meters and this and that. I'm not too sure if you are talking about the square meters, referring to here Madela 1 or 2, or you are talking square meters on townships, like, I mean, on cities like Cape Town Park, because that's where you can make 10 square meters, 5 square meters. So when it comes to like here in squatter camp, I don't see any square meters that you are talking about. That's number one. Number two, I'm supporting the speaker that said, once he said, this thing is complicated. I've been applying a RES since 2022, 2023, somewhere here in Madela here. Even today. They end up doing the reblocking. They've moved me away. I was having a place since 2022. I've applied almost 10 times. I've got even witness here. But even today, you just take powers, you give the councillor take the powers, you give the community. If you are not in a bus with the community guys, you won't get that space. As I'm speaking now, I was having a small space. It's not those square meter, what. It's just a tiny space. They've moved me. They removed me. They say, no, because you are staying that side of the street, you cannot have that business this side of the street. And I was having a big car wash. They've sent these Nyaope guys to vandalize everything. They've stole my generators and all this stuff. So I don't know how are we going to resolve this, but please try to simplify this thing. At least everybody's got access to get the permit. Thank you.
Yes, mine is a bit different. It's just a question. I just wanted to know on the properties, you know, on informal settlements, there's this new development that they've taken over where they've cut the stands, because in those stands, in most times, like I think we're in Madela Kuva, I've seen in Vusumus as well, next to the cemetery, as you enter the cemetery. I saw that place as well. So I was wondering with those stands, because I can see there's already an overline of electricity. So if a person develops that property, what happens? Because I can see that, okay, obviously if it's developed, if a person builds a house, so if they build a house, what's going to happen if there's going to be services that need to be installed? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I'm sure the two was the statement or was it questions? But just to amplify taba ya the square meters, NEPA. Imagine now, Odutsika next door, Moto Highland look off. Remember, we need to think of, I think building control will assist me when it comes to it. But I will think after Moto say, you've got a house, and then let's say now get up because of Mutukio Ahile Moen. Is that fair go and a Moto? Because of now, there's a shade Ekenangamo next door Moena. Now you don't even have the sunlight that I'm again within certain properties or certain rooms still in the house. But they get like building control, because building control is here to assist when it comes to the building plans that I'm needs. With the process, this town planning scheme get 2021. Maybe it's a matter of Azanza Fitla Tembisa to a point of public participation. Every policy is a halang, there's a public participation is a halang. We do go out, go migration wherever, the townshipping, explain how this is what needs to be done, and then I'll make an example. Before the creation, they only allow us for 28 kids, consent Jews, back then. And right now, look how it's at more than 28 kids, you must supposed to do a rezoning application, right? With the current scheme, it says 28 kids can be done, or more than 28 kids, special consent Jews. So we do public participation and migration and location the townshipping to the views about so. With Tavern back then, in a way, but we do have a process to say, apply for a tavern if you want to do a tavern. Special consent use. It depends on the type of applications. With regards to the title deed, there's a reason why we need title deeds. We want to know when, as the owner of the property, you know what's happening, when always on development. Yama Pakistani, I get to get but at the end of the day, Pakistani about. Is there our people more? So who are we here to blame? Pakistan or the owners of the people, the owners of the properties? Because at the end of the day, how about now I want to talk to the owner. I don't talk to a Pakistan. Get it? Bring the owner, I'll explain the owner what's the process that needs to be done. Right? Informal settlement. The departments that involve the applications of informal settlement, human settlement, right? Human settlement, that aids on the application. They submit they appoint but service providers, and they submit for a process. But certain informal settlement, remember, they are not registered as all I can tell you, when it comes to services, you cannot build a house or a power line. That is a no-no. There will be a buffer zone along how many meters you're supposed to build within that, right? So the informal settlements, they regularize, right? But not all of them, certain ones. And human settlement, that project. I believe maybe to the other meetings, I think we need to invite human settlement. We also need to invite real estate because for those properties or for those properties that belong to what they say. Thank you.
No, thanks very much. Let's get another presentation from the city. Colleagues are here. The two issues there at the back. I know there's something in the presentation that said consult the local councillor, but already I out a statement some that said, hey, the Garona Street Committee, on a road committee, so no committee man on a much Danianas and Soren Grant. So one chiefly he pele. Oh, so those are the kind of problems that I think they are unique to every space. So it might be important that you consult the mood and I explain in greater detail. Is it fine? Yeah. By the time resolve, you can proceed. You can proceed, class.
Okay, thanks, Chair. And thanks to my colleague Tato for partially introducing the topic. Salmonan, mina ngegama nguSibusiso Chili. I'm a development compliance officer. My office is based in Captain Park Civic Center, second floor. Mawufika lapho uzofuna uSibusiso Chili. So basically my job, I'm responsible for enforcing the land use scheme. For instance, let's say you are operating an illegal business on, let's say you have your land is zone residential 1, as my colleague has explained, the categories of land uses. So let's say, for instance, you are, okay, let me make a proper example with regards to Tembisa. So in Tembisa, most of the land is zone Res 2. So in Res 2, you are only allowed to, it's only allowed for dwelling purposes of a single family and private roads only. So any other use beyond that, it should be done through a consent use or a rezoning. So for instance of, you want to operate a spaza shop, the notorious one. A spaza shop on Res 2, it can only be done through a written consent application. So you cannot just open a spaza shop. So you need to first go through to the office of Mapheto, then they should grant you permission to continue with the spaza shop. But now, if you do that, if you open a spaza shop without consulting office of Mapheto, then that's where I come in. I'll investigate, I'll come to your property to confirm that indeed you're operating a spaza shop. Should I find out, yes, you're operating a spaza shop, then I will serve you with a contravention notice, which is section 109 and section 110. Section 110 is where we impose penalties on your municipal account. So now, okay, I was just summarizing my presentation. Okay, this is what I've just explained to you. In this part, we are development compliance officers, we are enforcing the bylaw. That's our division, basically. What do? We ensure that the land is actually utilized the way it's supposed to be according to its primary land use rights. So anything beyond that is considered to be illegal. Okay, let's say for instance, your neighbor is operating an illegal business. Yes, though you may not know that the business is illegal or what, but you are suspecting that your neighbor, let's say there's a tavern, then you're suspecting that this tavern is causing nuisance in the community, and you feel like it's illegal. You are welcome to come to my office and lodge a complaint. You can call me or you can send me an email. I'll give you the details after the presentation. You can complain stating that no, property this and this they are operating a tavern. So we're requesting your office to come and investigate, and then from there on we'll come and investigate. Then should we find that yes, indeed, they don't have the rights to operate a tavern, and then we're gonna serve them with a contravention notice. And a contravention notice, the important part of it is that we are only granting you 28 days. So if you don't cease your business in 28 days, the penalty will be imposed in your municipal account. And it depends according to the use. So for instance, if you're operating a spaza shop on the Res 2 or Res 1, the penalty is gonna be 548 rands, 63 cents per day. So meaning in 30 days is around 16,000 rands. So if you're operating, let's say a tavern on the Res 1, so your penalty is gonna be 5,000 rands a day. So monthly is around 150,000 rands. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay. Yeah, why do we need land use law enforcement? So yeah, it's to ensure land is properly utilized, as I explained. It's properly utilized. Because one thing important about land is that I know we all have rights. Yes, land is your land, you bought it with your own money, but we all have rights. And now, but your rights are limited. Your rights shouldn't contravene your neighbor's rights. So you cannot operate a business that's gonna inconvenience your neighbor or the whole community. So your business should complement whatever that is happening in the community. So as they've explained before, let's say you want to open a tavern. So a tavern in most cases cannot be approved maybe near a school or near a school or any community facility. So you need to ensure that whatever business that you wish to open is going to complement the whole neighborhood. It's not something that's going to cause nuisance on the whole neighborhood. Should there be something like that, it means you are contravening our bylaws and you're going to be served with the contravention notice. That's the primary part of our job, basically. Anything illegal, we serve it with the contravention notice. Okay, how to register a complaint regarding a land use contravention and what information is needed? Okay, by providing the necessary proper description, address and a street name, provide area details, city planning department in your area or respective customer care area, we can receive those complaints. City planning customer care line, okay, that's the one there. Okay, through city manager's office, mayor's office, ward councillor, all emails, the email of a development compliance officer, I'll provide you one with my own, or draw a petition as a community. So if the whole community feels like this thing is conveniencing the community, you can draw a petition, then forward it to my email. Okay, how land use complaints and contraventions are investigated. Okay. This once a complaint has been reported, okay, the TCO will verify the zoning of the property and its land use rights. A first site inspection will be conducted, and if alleged land use is not in line with the zonings or the land use scheme, then, as I've mentioned, section 109 and 110 notice will be issued to the owner of the property. So the important part here is the owner. So we only serve the contravention notice to the owner. We don't deal with the tenant. For instance, of Amaliga Spaza shops, we don't deal with foreigners. We don't deal with those Pakistani guys. So we want the owner. We want the original owner of the property because we are going to title deed. So foreigners, they won't assist in any regard. So you as an owner, don't send the foreigner or don't send those Pakistani guys to go to the municipality to apply zonings for his spaza shop. They won't get it. They won't be assisted. We need the owner, directly the owner. Okay, yeah, after that process, a second, okay, let's say we have served you with that section 109. Then we're gonna grant you 28 days. After 28 days, we're gonna come and conduct the second inspection. And then from there on, that is when we will be confirming whether you are still in contravention of the bylaw or not. Should you be in contravention of the land use scheme, then you're going to be served with the contravention notice. Okay, yeah, and then this is the part where we impose penalties on your municipal account. So if you are indeed, after the 28 days, you are still contravening the bylaws or the land use scheme, a daily administrative penalty will be implemented, which will be levied on your City of Ekurhuleni municipal account on a daily basis. And once the contravention has not ceased, after a second inspection, after you have been served with the administrative penalty, the matter will be referred to legal department for litigation. And from there on, basically, we would have done our job, and then the case will be with legal departments. Yeah, I think I've touched most important part of my job. I think, yeah, I'm welcome to the questions now.
Mbuzo. Now Mbuzo, 1, 2. Kizola fala dipuzo zelente. Okay, we've got 2 questions.
Sanibonani. Mina bengicela ukubuza ngikuzwe uthi umuntu makafuna ukuyenza ibusiness like yotshwala mele akune form eliza kubo makhelwane. Thina lelo form lela silazi nje. Sibona nje ibusiness yotshwala seyikhona sekuchanyelwa nje emabondweni. And asazi nokuthi sizorepeta kuphi asitshelwa nix. Asitshelo and mangithi ngiyabheka ema-sectionini amaningi bakhala ngalento leyo sibona nje sekune tavern But nathi siyayazi lento ukuthi mele ukuthi abomakhelwane bazi ukuthi le business ezoyenzwa la eyani ngoba amabonda wethu abolile shemelokishini ngabantu abachamela khona and asazi ukuthi sizoya kuphi.
Okay, liquor board itine. Usmalifu atamela, number 2.
Yeah, I want to ask about the land. So if I saw a land, like maybe it's being used for illegal dumping and stuff. So how do I go about the process to acquire that land, and how will the municipality help me to maybe to clean the land and make it maybe and get a title deed for that particular land?
Yeah, there were only 2 ends. Let's get the 2 aspects more. There's one from the side of the city and there's one from GLP.
Okay, thanks, Chair. I think those 2 questions basically, they're not directed to me. The first one, I think Liqua should answer it. And the second one, to acquire land, you can go to, I don't think they're around here, real estate. Real estate is the one responsible for obtaining land. So yeah, I think that's all on my side, Chair.
All right, Kancane. I get it before processing it like a liquor board. It's Tata Kolo, right? And you are saying most of the properties that are in the city are zoned residential too. Again, you have been together. So, Padu Kya Maspar. So, Meman Ore, Heman, before this process, if it's like a liquor board, we don't get a sense of Kumakelwan. I think that there's a presentation that said, it said, because I'm going to do a business in this area, I'm telling you, I get on now when you deal with processes, it's a liquor board. What does not happen, you don't entertain personal issues or a kitamonza. You don't deal with kitamonza. But there is a process that says you are being consulted. Please note that there's going to be the following application. And you said, if Unali Muruti, for example, the 28-day part that you spoke to, if there's a reverend, there's a crash, there's something, tell the reverend, Remoran, Kitobula sport to Imar, Karakia Waikenaka, who say in 11, at least Arbonsano Riazo, nor Narkanazzi, Tuba fans, Wabumanyan. But those are some of the questions that I think were being raised. Kionama, Wumbuzo Akulo, who would says Tibara Navan Civic Kamala Madonga, so the process. I think that's the question 1. That or I'm identifying land is not being used and I want to use it. How can the city help me? So starting. Can we start with the city, where it starts? Let's start from the beginning. Yeah?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. As much as the capotele thing, but as more to apply. Most people who supposed to handle that matter. How about looking at complaint? That's an illegal tavern, in short. It's a public participation at the signees. Okay. So you need to start Kobos and then that's when then they'll take an investigation to check on the rights or not. If as not the rights and then process a high on it contravention over the winner explain. So that's the first thing before I get a permission in a tavern. Because even if you go the carport, what if I have a license? It needs to start more on to say, okay, Spusiso must handle it to say, okay, Mutona Leona Tavern Capot. If as Nayona, then they must do the process at day. I understand? Yeah. With Papa Tabaya land, the custodians are municipal land real estate, right? But highly real estate is so we check the zoning bill. Okay, go bona wa apply to say, okay, I've identified a land so eko kai kai. They will send you to check a zoning bill. Zoning, if you do dumella for whatever that business batang you can apply ko bona. It's more like batla motho wa land elena. Ufita ko no batla renta land ko nna ke. Then go for permission. So the owners ke bona batla mo offer permission to say, okay, go for permission, yeah, we can occupy the land, but if only you're gonna do the right thing on that land. If property zone agriculture, we're not about it's a business, they will tell you go to town planning or no it's a business only if you go for land but process ke bona batla explain lang hantle hore how do you acquire that land ya teng hore ya title deed to batla explain it. But the only thing that that land you need to go to that department. You go and request, okay, property A, ke lona, can I rent a portion A? But dumella kapo jwang. If bal dumella, they'll send you guys to us to say, okay, do we agree? Not the zoning doesn't agree for your type of a business on that property. If not, what type of an application needs to be done? I can show maybe Arabi then.
Yeah, Osmalif. Motho o itse o bula restaurant mo bring.
Okay, so I think my colleague want to add something more, Karao.
Sanman, I just want to add, Uguti, it's important for you to go to city planning first, to when you have identified that place, to get the proper description, the proper zoning, and then before you go to real estate, check if they are indeed, the city is the owner of that portion of land. The importance of the zoning is, even if the city grants you the lease to that property, you won't be able to rezone it if your desired use is not in line with what the portion is zoned for.
No, thanks. That or meu busy business. We take it to a restaurant. I got a restaurant, as a restaurant, chassis group, while free to unsas pika, JBL, says Tinyaseska, Calabshan, Uti restaurant, Marbana Basakena, Barutella Levotala Mema, Ukai Batwa, by the restaurant, 12 D2. Banally patrons the 500. Arabaki situations are in your being, no?
Okay. If that restaurant in a license, what one is a complain how in writing. Ongole libitola tavern, ongole address, ongole everything. We go Gauteng Likabotiko law enforcement and compliance. They are going to investigate. Bakase it's a decision. Speed. They are going to investigate but like but these guys then battle share by it's a report yabona. Have a feta it's a report yabona. Battle compiler by set to the board. Balo present the boarding hore. Who it's hala so. Then board take your net when it's in decision. Yahore suspend the license or it's a drug. Mareba process it in writing. Only if the premises are licensed. Mara, if the premises are not licensed, I see jurisdiction Qondisa because they are trading illegally, they are committing offense. If they are not licensed, I see jurisdiction Gauteng Liquor Board. Kia Qondisa.
Usmalif, are expand on the party or why rebata a licensed establishment it display a license yayo.
Yeah.
So that I want to establish or giving establishment licensed, giving is licensed on consumption of consumption. Just maybe so that maybe me I understand. I get it. There's a question that says maybe the process has not gone through a formal way, but reality have any moment. So we establish a memory. Just that small specific space area.
Okay, the law says if you have a license, you need to display the license at all times. Kore au fitla maybe ulo reka normally batho ba nang le di license ba rata ho di paste hona mo ba mo rekisetswang teng. Ha o ema mo ha o fitla o sheba o re o tlo e bona hore e teng. Hore license ke e teng ya mo le the type of a license. Mara ho ba difficult ha o fitla o thola hore ho a rekiswa ha o sheba ha o bone license. It's very difficult to roka botsa the owner hore o na le license. Otherwise o tlo thola mathata. O tlo kena mathateng a mangata haholo. Mara he by law ba tshwanetse hore ba I display a license eo e be teng. So ha ile siko Mr. Machakela, I just don't know. O tlo re o tla lata maponisa he. O tla ba maponisa ba bolelo ke na le problem ke batla o tseba hore na this establishment is licensed na. Because ke tshaba o botsa motho ha ba display anything ke batla o bona hore ho etsala. Mara if it's not licensed ke mosebetsi wa maponisa o trade illegally o commit an offense.
Ene wa motshaba motho.
Ene wa motshaba o tlo ya wena mo o botse motho ka license. O tlo thunya.
Yeah, wa motshaba because o sala le yena kere. Maponisa, GLB, everybody tsamele. O tlo sala le makelwane. Akere. But it's important that we know these things. But Baba, is there another presentation? There's 3 presentations that we've received. I think I'm covered. Yeah.
Okay.
The important aspect, there's 2 more. Okay, we are still going to get 2 more presentations. I think you can come to the podium. But it's important that we understand Molao Uring. It addresses that question. Public participation. Officer speaker, it must say you must go to yourselves, introduce whatever ordinances that we want to introduce, and make sure that you've got an input. And it was done. So as we make laws in our democracy, people must make provision and give input in those laws. But ungalovi uti ayizange kube ne public participation. Uta laba bakamasipala babuyile futhi lento zabo angilapha. Again, there are those 2 responsibilities, rights, these are the responsibilities. You can proceed.
Sanbonani, thank you, Program Director. Igama lami nguDudu Isibongo Khumalo. I'm from Economic Development. Sidila nge-business compliance. Kahle basically sidila ngokunceda ama-businesses, small or medium business, to comply ukuthi babe nama licenses in terms of a business license for ama-spaza shop, and then for nabantu aba-trader hawkers. We also help them to have ama-licenses for ama-hawkers in the street. So mina ngilana ngizo explain the process yethu. Tina kahle ngithi ngichaze, we are based in 20 SDCs, which is our customer care center. But now we are here to focus on Tembisa as one of our SDCs since Sila. The process here to yogo apply for a business license, we known as formal business. So umuntu utola I form. This is the form I'm going to show you. Utola le form leli. Umuntu makafuna apply this spaza shop sakhe, funa apply le business yakhe, utola this form. So what you need to put or to attach with this form ngizonichazela ama documents lawo esizowadinga, which is 1 kuzoba I-ID yaloyo muntu loyo maka South African, ekumele ibe certified, ingabi older than 3 months. If umuntu is not a South African, it's a foreign national, we're going to need a passport, we're going to need an asylum, we're going to need refuge status. Together with all those, we're going to need a work visa. That is for someone who is not a South African. That is one of the documents we need for you to apply. Second document, we're going to need a zoning certificate. Since one of the guys from City Planning have explained, we're going to need that certificate with the application. A third one, we will need a CIPC, known as a business registration. Kusho ukuthi business nakho kumele libe registered from CIPC. So we need that document, also known as CK. And then the fourth one, we'll need proof of tax clearance certificate that we get from ISARS. And then another document, we will need your water and light statement. So you attach that, or uzosinikeza a letter, confirming a residential, that now uyithola kamasipala, we attach. Another one, we will need a lease agreement. Lease agreement, ukube lapho uvule khona business you are renting, you will ask ukuthi bakunikeze a lease agreement from the owner to say ukuthi, confirm ukuthi you are renting indeed a business yako in that premises. If you are owning it, we will also need a title deed stating ukuthi a business yako, it's yours, you are owning the business. Or we will need a letter from a landlord. Umuntu renta kuye abhali affidavit or a letter usho ukuthi wena so and so wenza business kuleyo premises lezo. Another one, the final one, will need a certificate of acceptability, which certificate is taken from our health department. Our colleague from health is here. She will elaborate more on that part. Those are the documents that I just mentioned that we do need as economic development, ukukusiza wena as a person on a business ofuna ukuthi uliaplayele. After sesithola wonke lawo ma document lawo, then you are required ukuthi kuye nearest SDC, which is known as the customer care center. You drop your application there, you will find the advisor here. In this regard, we've got a lady named Qondisa Sokoka. I would ask her to stand for us. This is one of our advisor based, Lana e Tembisa, Ulana e Winnie Mandela. This is the person you'll find in the office. If not her, you'll find our colleagues wake. Those are the ones that will assist you, but at that application. That application will then circulate to other departments, such as city planning, as I mentioned, and also environmental health, and also dams if it's required. Then those departments then will do an inspection. After inspection has been done, we'll receive our comments back to us saying, Uguti application yako has been approved or not. Once it has been approved, then Mapheto will contact you and say, come through to our SDC to make a payment for that license that you're requiring. After you have made a payment, then you will go through for initial and final approval. That process will take 21 days. Then you'll be contacted and be issued with a business license. Thank you. Now we'll proceed to a trading permit. The people that are trading on the streets, abathengisa ama fruits and veg, abayenza ama-salon estradeni, abalungisa icathulo, ama-cell phones, etc. This is the application oyitholayo for ukuthi u-applyele for a trading permit. So a trading permit nayo, it's got also required documents lawo ekumele ukuthi uwa-attach, such as izoba ile form lena, and then behind this form uzofaka nakhona i-proof of residence, or I think it's bank statement monganayo. And then also uzofaka your ID certified, not older than 3 months. It still applies for umuntu wangaphandle ukuba you foreign nationals ukuthi usinikeze i-work permit yako together with the application. We drop it, as I mentioned, ku SDC yako or ku customer care yako, where in this case Mapheto Sokoka, since Ally Winnie Mandela, will be the one also receive this application yako. Iye futhi, through the same process that I just explained as a business license, yegoma departments. This case goes by EMPD, the department is which is a contact when is a checker in Dao, Lapo usebenzela khona. Usually the Tembisa team, I think I know, they say to you, Mauleti application, utate is tombe, salenda lo sebenzela guyo. So that with that tombe, so again, maskona lana, it's either by phonela or they use that picture and go and check uguti indawo lo sebenzela guyo approved enough for ukuthi wena utrade lapo. If it's approved, izobuya futhi application is a git. Let's say now in this case, as you trading la pestrate uthengisa ukudla, fruits and veg, then you will go to another department known as the Department of Health. Nabo bazwa bayenza inspection yabo, mabase bayenzile, then also nabo bakunikeza comment to say approver. But sometimes before back approver, ba require go to apply a certificate sabo, known as COA, Certificate of Acceptability. And then after Lapogena, it will go for initial, as we said. After that, they will contact you to come and pay. After you have paid for your trading permit or your hawker's license, then it will also go for AMA signatures. It will also take 21 days. Then bazok phonela, bati izoiland. In that process, you've got a receipt or you pay it now. We have another receipt, esibambayo on our side to show so that the process can go on. And then the final part where is about our tariffs, how our payment system works. I will call my colleague Jason Jansen to elaborate and explain to you guys more. Mina ngiyabonga.
Good afternoon again. Okay, yes, as my colleague has introduced our department to you, Business Compliance Department, which I'm also from. And just with the adjoining presentation, I want to bring forward to you 3 aspects of this presentation that I would like to share with you is the tariffs, number 1. Number 2, it's going to be the stats and reports of the applications that we've received and just a breakdown of that in terms of trading permits and business licenses for specifically Tembisa, okay? So let me start with the tariffs for you of what a trading permit would cost you. A trading permit is going to cost you 231 Rand, okay, for an initial application. So when you come and when you're coming and your first time applicant, you're going to pay 231 Rand for a business license, okay? For a renewal, on a trading permit. For a renewal on a trading permit, so you've already done your trading permit before initially, the cost of your renewal is not going to change, okay? So you're still going to pay 231 Rand for a trading permit once you renew it. A renewal, the term for a trading license to be valid is for 12 months, okay? So after 12 months, you have to come and renew it. So that's when we're saying that it's also going to cost you 231 for that renewal. But in case of you need to make an amendment or you need to duplicate, say you've lost your permit, then we're going to ask you for a fee of 184 Rand for that duplication or for an amendment, okay? Then when it comes to a business license, we're going to ask you, so business license, we're asking you for 1,034 Rand for a business license when you initially do your first application for a business license. And then the like, when you're doing your renewal, after 12 months, again, the valid time for the lapse of your a valid business license is 12 months. You're going to pay another 1,034 Rand. And then to issue a duplication or to make amendments on your business license, obviously the price is still going to be the same at 1,034 Rand. And then it's going to be the same for spaza shops, okay? So I think when it comes to spaza shops, because our president has highlighted that the registration of those needs to be regulated and checked, and there's been emphasis put on that, it still falls under business licenses, but they've given it its own category, okay? So hence, I'm just highlighting the spaza shop apart from the business licenses. So the next part is to give you the rundown or just to be transparent towards the Tembisa public as to say where you guys are standing from July in 2024 in terms of stats. How many applications have come in for trading permits? You all have had 386 permit applications that came to our offices here at Tembisa. Of those 386 permits, this is from 1st of July 2024 to 14 November 2024. We've had the South Africans, which was 361 applications. Foreign nationals was 25. Disabilities, 0. Females, 216 of those 386 applications. Males was 170. The youth, 189 of those, and the adults was 197. The total number, obviously, 366. When it comes to business licenses, the South Africans for that period was 28. Foreign nationals was 12. For disabilities was 0. Females was 9. And then males 31. youth 0, and adults 40. Okay? The total number of business licenses that were issued out of that applications, out of the 40 applications, was 50. Okay? So trading permits did better than business licenses year in. Obviously, like city planning alluded, there are those reasons for residential, for the zoning that has implications on that. So from 15th of November to 19th of February, 15th of November 2024 to 19th February 2024, total number of trading permits was 287, South Africans 278, foreign nationals 9, disabilities 0, females 165, males 122, youth 65, and adults 222. And then your total number of permits issued in that period, out of the 287 was 133. The total number of business licenses was 13 applications. South Africans was 13, foreign nationals 0, disabilities 0, females 2, males 11, youth 0, and adult 13. The total number of business licenses issued out of the 13 was 7, okay? Then, like I said, spaza shops has been illuminated, and we had to really put emphasis on trying to regulate those and bringing those people to come forward with spaza shops to become compliant. And so we've also given a separate report and stats on that. The number of people who applied from July 2024, the total number of applications received at Triple C's was 43 for spaza shops. South Africans was 27, foreign nationals was 16, disabilities was 0, females was 7, males was 36, youth was 0, and adults 43. Total number of issued licenses in that period or in July was 0, okay? So I think we've got to account and remember that before spaza shops wasn't a question that much until we started to get complaints from, cases were escalated to, obviously, our municipalities to say that children are dying, people were getting sick, and so we really had to start looking at making these, this category become compliant, the services of spaza shops. So before then, you'll find that that's why in this term, there wasn't many applications that came forward and that were issued. But then, since the president made his announcement, we started to see, when he started to act on the cases that were escalated, we started to see a spike in terms of applications that were coming forward. And this is the stats rundown for that from the 15th of November 2024 to 19th February 2025. The total number of applications received at Triple C's was 633, compared to the 43 before that period. And then South Africans was 65. What's interesting here is, and I think it's something that I should just highlight, is that foreign nationals had 568. And I think, we need to, for me it's a concern, on a personal level, it's a concern that even here in Tembisa, we really need to start looking at our South Africans being empowered. So yeah, it's a call, and that's apart from the presentation now. Then, disabilities was 0, females was 86, males was 547, youth 0, and adults 633. The total number of issued licenses anyway, in any case still, was 0. Now the reason for that was because out of those 633, the 491 shop applications, it was declined due to primary rights of the sites. When I talk about primary rights of the sites, I mean zoning. there are still a lot of things that are not allowing businesses to operate in terms of zoning when it comes to city planning and building control. But city planning has taken the initiative to look at a lot of those cases, those 491 cases, and they are in the process of being helped and assisted, okay? Thank you, guys.
No, thanks very much. Questions? The statistics is a problem. 1, 2, any other question? Only 2, 3. Okay.
Sanibonani. Mina ngicela ukubuza ukuthi why kubalulekile ukuthi if mina ngirana ibusiness why kubalulekile ukuthi mele ngiregister, why kubalulekile ukuthi mele ngibe nelicense, why kubalulekile lokho, and ngicela ukwazi ukuthi umehluko wokuba nelicense nokuba nepermit ukuphi. Ngiyabonga.
Sanibonani, ninjani? Mina igama lami uJabulile. Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi why ema-mall like mangifuna ukuthengisa mele ngibhadale? Yeah, like a Pick n Pay for instance, ngifuna ukungena ngaphakathi, maybe ngihambisa ama-pamphlets wami ngenza ama-sales. Why kumele ngibhadale ngaphakathi Pick n Pay or mele ngibe ne-permit but nje bathi mele ngibhadale specific?
Masiari. Ne mbudziso yanga ndi uri nne ndi shuma nga ndi ita dzikota. So na nne ndiko tea uri ndibe na permit na kana ndibe na license.
Yeah, number 3 there. You are covered. All right.
I will try. If I'm struggling, my manager will be here to elaborate more. Starting with the first question, Uguti, what is the importance of having a permit? Since, as all the colleagues have spoken here, compliance is vital. Comply, Ugutu, when's izinto ngomthetho kubalulekile. Since well was, Uguti, there's so many things going on where there is abantwana bagula because of ukudla okuthengiswa ema-shop. When you are registered on a permit and certain things happen, we were able to be assisted as a business. Now, emakubakhona kunama fundings, kunezinto ezenzakalayo in terms of giving fundings to your business, we are able to assist you because you are registered, you are on our database. But beside all that, it is a mandatory requirement. You are not allowed to trade without a business. It is so illegal. You have to have it. Second one, usisi ubuzuguti, if she wants to go and distribute ama pamphlets, guma malls, why is she struggling? Okay, what I know is, since well in mall, it is not also part, it's a private entity. So you need to go to management. They've got their own rules that they set. So speak to management. Management will be able to tell you what is the process to follow. You are even at as economic development when we go and support or educate amangama shops in malls in terms of e-compliance for our business license. Firstly, we go through mall management and tell them we want to come into the mall, we want to emphasize about Pick n Pay, ShopRite, Beggar King, etc. comply. So they will tell us a schedule on which days are we allowed to go and speak to them. So I think when it's the rules that you need to follow that are set by the mall. And then the last one, usisi ufuna ukubuza ukuthi magathengisa amakota, is it a business license or a permit? Mawuthengisa amakota, it is a permit. You apply for a trading permit, a hawker's permit, not a business license, because your focus is mainly on amakota. And this is, if I'm understanding. Uthengisa kuphela amakota. Yeah, so uzo applyela it permit as the other one. There's two being bonus uniform where uzo snikeza your ID, usnikeza proof of residence, and then usnikeza picture yale ndawo lo sebenzela kuyo. Yeah. I hope ngokuphendulile. If I'm not, my colleague will elaborate more.
Okay, I think they've answered that. You guys are clear. I just wanted to add to the first one, why do you need to become compliant? Why is business compliance important? Is because you can imagine, for instance, if you're talking about an informal trade permit, people are using the side of the roads. Remember, there's maintenance that needs to be done. There is also the road accident fund. where EMPD are the custodians of the bylaws of those roads. If accidents have to happen, who's going to be accountable for you on the side of the road? If you are not registered, how can the city help you? Okay? At least if the city knows that they know about you, they know that you have been given the right to stand on that corner. Nah? When investigations are done, we will be able to account for you. Okay? That's one of the reasons. Number two would be the case where the maintenance needs to be done on those roads. We can't just have everybody. Imagine if it was free for all. How would our roads look? Eh? Everybody will be on the side of the road doing what they want. So we need to regulate these things. Hence, there's the reason why. And it would be the same for business licenses also. Just for regulations purposes, just for flow, just for control. We need to have those. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you so much from our side.
Okay, thanks very much, colleagues. There's another presentation that is ngaphakama nephakameni gazi lethu mbijana yabo. You don't have to do it all at once, but yeah, can proceed.
Okay, good afternoon all. My name is Hope Khatlake. I'm an environmental health practitioner servicing area of Tembisa area, the entire Tembisa area. It's been a while that we've been running with food safety this far. And I decided today that I'll be sharing now the process now of a COA application. We've been doing trainings, we've been running operations regarding food safety, but today I thought it will be best to share with you the processes of how the COA application is run. And I'll be quick, I'll be on it. It's straightforward, but people have been coming to our offices and not having clarity on how they should go about doing the application. So I'll briefly share on that. Environmental health is guided by different legislation, or rather for food safety, there's a specific legislation that guides us as to how to go about rendering a service, or rather for those that does food preparation, what's expected of them and how best to carry out preparation, making sure that our communities are safe when it comes to now after consumption. I'll not go through everything, I'll briefly touch on everything as I go. The regulation that's guiding us, it's referred to as Regulation Governing General Hygiene Requirements for Food Premises, the transport of food and related matters. It's regulation number 638 of 22 June 2018. What do we refer to when we say a food premises? A food premises, as per what's stipulated on the regulation, refers to a building, a structure, a stall, or other similar structure that includes a caravan, vehicle, stand or place used in connection with the food handling. By this, I mean, referring to this, the structure can be made of plastic, corrugated iron, wood, bricks. Do you understand? We have different places where we prepare our food. There's a fly that's disturbing me here. Yeah, so we have premises as reflected here. We cater for such. Those premises must be certified as per environmental health regulations. On this specific regulation, there's section 3.1 that says, or that covers, that a person may not handle food or permit food to be handled on a food premises where a valid certificate of acceptability has not been issued, meaning no one that is preparing food is allowed to be preparing food and sell to public members without being in possession of a valid certificate of acceptability. That also includes, or the certificate the certificate must be enforced, and this applies now to outsourced vehicles. We have vehicles that are transporting foods, perishable goods that are meant for consumption. They must be in possession of certificate of acceptability. In contravention of a restriction, condition, or stipulation contained on a certificate of acceptability, no one is supposed to be doing anything without that certificate being issued, or rather doing things that are not allowed to be done on a food premises, as per the certificate. Section 3(2) further communicates that the person in charge of food premises must apply in writing to local authority. Local authority means that refers to us, municipality, in this case to an environmental health office in an area where the service is run. Section 3(3) further requires that the application must, without delay, be referred to an inspector, an EHP. We have EHPs that are rendering the services. I'm not sure whether you've engaged with such in Tembisa, but I'm sure there are many, and you are aware of. Okay, I'm seeing heads that are saying no. But we have inspectors that are rendering such services even in Ekurhuleni, in Tembisa. We have traders that we refer as informal traders. I think the LED has touched on that. I don't think it will be necessary for me to go through that as well, but it covers all the premises that are informal here. That needs to be inspected as well by environmental health. The process goes as follows. The application that we issue must be, okay, the application is issued to an applicant where one is required, and it needs to be accompanied by a zoning certificate or a consent use, a consent use, yes, a certificate, yeah. A zoning or consent use certificate the application should be accompanied by such. A certified copy of the applicant, of an identity document, proof of refuse collection where that serves as a proof of residence in our case. Company registration where it's necessary or when a person has that in possession. A lease agreement where there are agreements made between the person that renders a service of food preparation with the owner of the actual premises. With all this submitted to us, we go do an inspection at the actual premises. The inspection is done in this form. An EHP will go on site, check whatever. In this case, I'll be talking mainly to a kitchen because now I just want to come close to where you'll be. A small premises where food is prepared. We do the actual inspection in that space that you prepare in. This applies even to big entities like we have Pick and Pays and others that have food not only in just the kitchen side, but for food that are handled in not so big spaces, we check that whatever that we have in that kitchen may not may not create a hazard, or rather possible contamination to the food that you are preparing. Remember that we've been having cases now of food being contaminated by poisons. We have chemicals that are kept in our premises that accidentally or intentionally also contaminate our food and ends up maybe being the food being sold to public members, and there's a crisis of one getting ill or even fatalities take place there. Now, when we are okay or satisfied that the premises meets the requirements of environmental health, we issue a certificate of acceptability. When there are problems still and the premises still needs to improve or rather do the right thing, we advise further of what needs to happen in order for one to comply. In the process of advising, or rather when one has said, has been given so long to comply, we normally give it to up to 6 months to allow the person to comply with whatever requirements that we said. After that, I take it that most of the premises will meet the requirements. So after the 6 months that has been given, it's normally shorter because we give advice as per what the premises looks like. As soon as it complies, we issue a certificate. The certificate currently is paid for. We actually not paying for the certificate. We paying for an inspection fee that allows us now to issue a certificate. We don't certify the person per se, but we certify the premises. Remember that we inspect the premises, and that's what we look at. If it complies, we certify the premises, but the applicant details will be on the actual certificate. We've been having issues, a lot of issues, especially now recently that there are crises with spaza shops, where members of our public engages in acquiring fraudulent certificates. That is not acceptable, that is illegal. So, community members, Rona really environmental health, the inspection fee that we charge, it's a once-off payment. You don't have to renew. For as long as you are running the business, you just pay it once and it's done. Maintenance of the actual premises we don't want for us to have certified you, and today, let's say in 3 months, the premises is upside down, or things are just disorderly, not in order, where there'll be a risk again of exposing the very food that we prepare to harmful substances or whatever that may not be okay there. Do we get that? Please, let's help each other with acquiring proper documents without going behind the department's backs. It comes back to you again, because you'll pay 3,500 for an issuance of a certificate of a premises that is just not okay. So please, you are advised to follow proper routes of acquiring a certificate. Above here, we have an example of a certificate of acceptability. It's an authentic one, issued by an authentic department. So let's stay away from certificates that are done illegally, please. We normally get questions that goes like, do I need a certificate of acceptability to sell fruits and vegetables? Yes. You need a certificate of acceptability to sell such. Why? Remember that fruits and veg are food items as well. The minute you start processing, cutting of the actual product, it's a processing, it's a process. The minute you cut the fruit, you cut the veg, you expose it to the external environment, isn't it? And anything that is not, anything or whatever that is not okay, that may end up in the actual product, requires us to safely do it. Now, for a person that is selling vegetables that are not cut, let's say even maize meal, the meal, the kanambila, pony. Akere hona le batho ba le ba rekisang dipone, millis. Haba process, they don't cut them. They are not required to have a certificate of acceptability. It's an agricultural product that comes as raw as it is from wherever they get it. For the fact that they take it from wherever that it comes from, they come and sell it as is. They don't have to have a certificate of acceptability. But let's go further to when they now decide to process. I get by Ebola, the outside, the cover, the green cover that covers the entire or protects the actual milling. It's a process of preparation. Then, meaning as such, the killing of an animal, bird, whatever, we have, yes, illegally we have people that are killing chickens. Slaughtering of chickens on an open